Once again, we'd like to welcome everyone to Randy and Candy Yao's Extreme Desire podcast, where we meet, talk, learn, and hear from some of the legends and people in the real world of hunting, where we keep things down to earth with real people.
This week we're going to be visiting with Tim and Riza from Leupold Optics Company. Anybody that's been around there has probably heard of them. They both are very good at their jobs and what they do, and very knowledgeable. So let's get to know each one of them a little bit better on a personal level. It'll be a fun time, so stay tuned. Okay, today we are here with Tim and Riza Lesser.
Yes.
And they work at Leupold, and for anybody that don't know Candy, my wife, Candy Yao. And we're going to find out a little bit more about these guys' personal lives and working at Leupold and all that fancy stuff. So why don't you guys tell us what you do for Leupold?
Okay. Why don't you start? You've been there longer than I have.
Oh, you put me on the spot.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, go ahead, Tim.
So I've done a number of things. I've been there for about 14 years. Right now I lead the product development group. So I started on the phones, mailing out catalogs, things like that, and then kind of came up through marketing and product development. And now I'm fortunate enough to lead that group. Get to play with all the fun new stuff.
There you go. And develop new stuff and all that. Help that.
All the R&D and the engineering and all that stuff.
Yeah, so you guys got I see a lot of new stuff coming out these days.
You might see a few of them even before everybody else does, too, but we keep you under lock and key with that information.
Sometimes you'll let me, sometimes you don't.
Yeah.
No, you guys, I've been really impressed just the last 2 or 3 years how much Leupold has just really gone in lots of different directions.
We've been pushing to get a number of new things out there, and then we like to use folks like you guys if we can send it out to you ahead of time. And
test crash dummies.
Yeah,
we're really good at test crash dummies.
Get the feedback. It's one thing to develop these things in an office, but then you can't get out there as easy and get in the rain or the sleet or the mud or you don't learn some of those things that you need to until it's too late unless we get help.
Right. Yeah. And the one thing I'm good at is tearing stuff up. So if you want to.
Yeah.
It gets used and abused.
Well, everything I use everything I got is a tool to me.
Yep.
It's not a mantelpiece, and I don't want too fancy stuff because I'm gonna tear it up.
If it makes you feel any better, I constantly break stuff too. So he's always like, "Oh,
it's
good." I've had it for 2 years and have never broken it. And you take it on one trip and it comes back broken. So
or it's the only one in existence.
Oh, yeah.
That's different. That's when you should better put it away.
That's when you don't even want to call. You're like, "Oh, this is not going to be good."
This sounds like a good story, though.
Oh man, yeah. That's why I'm like, well, good thing I work at Leupold, so at least everything's taken care of. I don't have to stress about it. Otherwise, I'd be homeless trying to pay for everything.
Well, no, you don't want to take out the collector's editions.
No, don't give them to me, at least.
We've learned.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. I think there's a policy somewhere around there that says just don't give me anything valuable.
Exactly. Yeah. And so what do you do there?
So I've been there 10 years, and I started in human resources and used to do phone screens and stuff and interview people. And then I moved into marketing and did various positions there, including, managing some of the shows. And then moved up. And so right now I handle all of our strategic partnerships, which is major conservation groups and a lot of the broadcast media as well. So I've gotten to know quite a few people and have a nice, communication with people outside of the building. But, it's fun. It's fun what I do every day. It's never the same thing day to day. So it's always an adventure on that. But
yeah, you don't get bored that way.
No, not at all. Yeah, I can have a game plan of what I think is going to happen that day, and then it'll go completely different direction. But I like that though.
No, I do too. I like that kind of because I'm not a good at the assembly line type thing. Oh. I got to do other stuff. Yeah,
you got to keep him busy or he gets in trouble.
Yeah. I can see that about Randy.
I don't know about that, but
we're hearing the truth. That's why we have her here,
right?
No, I don't.
Put my 2 cents in every now and then.
That's okay. Yeah. But so you guys are been there quite a while and
met there.
That's what I was going to ask.
Yeah. How did you meet? Just give us a little story.
I didn't like him at all. So
can't blame
you just had to wear her down. Took a long time.
Yeah. No, we actually met. We were actually really good friends first, and he was one of the core group of nice guys there that would help me. Whether it be, which there's a lot of them there. I was fortunate with that, but he was one of the ones that tolerated me setting up bows and all this stuff as I was learning what I was doing. that, people would take you down to we have a shooting range downstairs, and he was one of the officers that could, supervise stuff. And I was like, this guy's really cool. And so we just become really good friends. We had a good core group of friends there and stuff. And then, eventually it just got to the point where all of a sudden you realize that you like your best friend. So it just kind of worked out. Our paths kind of just came together. So that was kind of unexpected and awesome all at the same time.
So did you guys date for quite a while once you realized this, or was it just a sudden?
There's a little of both. We started looking back and realizing that a lot of the stuff that we thought we were going out and doing as friends, we were, it was more than that. We didn't realize it. It was kind of going out in the woods or whatever. It was one of those, oh, that's what's going on, know. And so we dated for quite a while after that, but it was kind of just all at once. It kind of hit both of us, and we figured it out. If to the outside observers, we wouldn't look very intelligent because it was pretty obvious.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
No, I know how that works. Yeah,
it was fairly obvious to other folks, and then we were just a little slow catching up on that.
Right.
That's cool.
Yep.
I love that.
And we both have kids, and so we were cautious and intermingling some of that too, and so it just all kind of worked out, and it took us by surprise.
Cool.
Yes.
And I hear there's a story in there about your wedding.
Oh, yeah.
Gotta hear this.
This is my fault. I did kind of rat myself out on this one. A few people at the office know this, too. I've technically married him twice.
Yeah, more people are going to know.
Oh, yeah, everybody's going to know now. So there's no secret here. So, so we got married in November when we were, and my family's from Belize. And it was really important to me to have my grandma there at my wedding, and I had my parents there and some good friends from growing up. And so we were like, let's go somewhere and have fun and get married. And we did that and came back, and had a great time with the kids and everything. And as it's getting towards the end of the year, it's coming December, I'm like, I'm not sure I'm so confident that this paperwork's ever going to show up. We submitted everything to Belize, I'm like, things could take a while, with the government. I don't know how long this is going to be. And then I'm still waiting and waiting and waiting. And pretty soon you're like, we're going to have to file taxes. We're coming to the end of the year. What do we do? I'm like, I kind of feel dumb. Maybe we should have gotten married here with the paperwork. Then we would have known it was done and then taken it with us and had it done. So we problem solved. And Angie, she works at Leupold. She's our payroll manager. She has a husband who's licensed and, ordained, I guess. And I called her, I called her extension, being really time effective here. And I said, hey, is Brian still have, all of his licensing and stuff to, marry people? And she was like, yeah. And I was like, well, I need to get the paperwork turned in because I'm not confident this may ever show up. Could be 6 months, a year. I have no idea. And then I'm like, I don't really have proof. I mean, we had a ceremony. I don't know what to do. She said, no problem. So he shows up the next day on a Friday or something. And we're both at Leupold at work, right? And so we're there, and I think one of the family members of Leupold was one of the witnesses, who's a really good friend of mine, John, and then Angie was the other witness, and her husband married us, and it took 30 seconds, but to date, I think we're the only people that actually got married at Leupold because
So you just call up Tim, say, hey Tim, would you mind running out here and marry me real quick?
It was very romantic.
Yeah, I bet it was.
Yeah,
standing in a payroll office.
So then for your anniversary, you just went back to work?
Yeah. We were just like, hey, let's have a good honeymoon. Break. Right? We got another meeting to go to.
Yeah, we'll see after dinner. After work.
He's a hopeless romantic like that for sure. So Yep. Technically, we have 2 wedding anniversary dates.
We do.
That's amazing. I'll bet nobody can top that one.
Yeah.
Well, I wouldn't say. There's got to be something out there.
Oh yeah.
Oh, I'm sure.
Yeah.
So that's.
I've seen daytime TV enough to know that we're not even close.
No, that's
I
true.
know.
Gotta be
But it's pretty
there.
loyal. It's kind of a
Yeah, well, I mean, what good employees? We didn't even bother taking time off. We just went and signed some paperwork, and we were done. And right back to work.
You probably even docked your time for that 15 minutes you were out.
Lunch break.
Work late, punch out late.
Yep. So that's a story that some of our friends like to laugh about too.
I love it.
Meet and marry at Leupold.
Yes.
That's cool.
But it's a family business. There's 700 plus people there. Fluctuates all the time, and there's lots of other couples or family members and stuff that work together.
And that's when we talk about that a lot when we with Benchmade and Leupold and going through your guys' area in your plant and all the people down that are building these things and how tight they seem to be, and and families.
There's no
that have been there
separation
forever.
from the people on the floor. I'm sure there is, but I mean, I worked in a mill before, and the people on the floor hate the people in the office, and vice versa, and it's just this huge separation. And when we took the tour, I'm like, oh my gosh.
Yeah, everybody seemed
When
to
you guys
fairly
walk down
tight,
there,
you know.
everybody likes you and they're friendly. And hey, when are we going hunting? You know, what's going on here? And I'm like, whoa, that's pretty cool.
It's
That's pretty cool.
it's a unique place. You know, it's we need a lot of machinists, which is not as easy to find anymore. And then there's a program for getting everybody essentially trained for that. So we have our own internal training. And by the time you get through a lot of this stuff, we've all needed to intermingle and hang out and talk hunting. And so it's really the hunting is what ends up doing.
Brings
We're
it
all
together.
hunters, and it gives us
Outdoors people.
common ground
Right.
when they the folks downstairs may not completely understand exactly what Riza does, and she may not know how to set up a machine to run this part or that part.
Exactly.
But you can both talk about elk season, and then
Exactly.
you learn little
Right,
bits
right.
back and forth,
Yeah.
and it's pretty neat.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the key.
You were talking about families a minute ago. And so, we travel enough. We see your guys' schedule. And I would say 90% of the time we only see one or the other of you at a show. But you have children.
Yeah.
So how hard is that? How hard is it to juggle being family and a relationship and a job and travel?
Well, we have 3 kids, and ages, one's almost 15, 12-year-old, we have a 12-year-old, and then a 9-year-old, and it's a blended family on top of that. And then we also work together, but honestly, we don't actually see each other in the building very often. And then we do overlap at shows from time to time, and sometimes, we might see each other for a day or two at the same place, but I think, I don't know. We were talking about this the other day, like how we do this, and I just think we just don't ever stop moving.
It's it's similar to you guys. You talk about you're not good at the assembly line thing where you do. It's just you need to think on your feet and react.
Exactly.
So this is the situation. It just changed 30 seconds ago. You can't be surprised by that.
Right.
I'm pretty fortunate. My ex-wife works at home, so she runs a consulting gig out of her house. And we're not really close together. She's 40, 50 miles away, but it's enough, and her schedule is flexible enough that a lot of times we just adjust the parenting schedule around mine, which
Well,
is
that's good.
that's
She can work with
rare.
that.
And that's awesome.
It's pretty rare
Yeah,
to find
very
something
rare.
like that.
Yeah, it
So
is.
she's,
That's
she's
very
really
cool.
understanding, and that helps out a lot.
No, that's great.
When mine changes, hey, is there any chance you can switch this weekend for that one? And she looks and says, yeah, no problem. And
Right. Great.
Yeah, that makes it a lot easier.
Yeah.
And then my son's dad's actually lives in the same town. We're 5 minutes apart, and he's been super understanding. I've been traveling since Rylan was 1. My mom used to help out because excuse me, my ex-husband used to travel all the time too. And so Rylan got used to, mom being gone for a week. Sometimes it was 9 days in a row. That was really hard as a mom.
yeah,
And then
yeah.
as a single mom for a while, you want to be there. And there's times that you don't get to go to the choir performance or
Yes.
something, but I have an amazing network of friends and family. And then in the neighborhood that we actually live in, we have some amazing people too. And so they could be at a school event and they're filming your kid,
Yeah,
with their
right.
friends. And,
Yeah.
and
Yeah,
you're on the
same
road
here.
and you're
That's so
seeing it and
cool.
you're trying not to cry and you're like, this is amazing. I
Yeah, I know
couldn't,
how that works.
it takes a village.
Yes.
And so I think that's why we're blessed. And then a lot of people, that we work with or that we're friends with in the industry understand.
Yes.
We may go visit someone or go to camp and we're bringing the kids with us or 3 to 4 dogs with us. You know what I mean?
Right.
Because we kind of have to adapt.
Well, that's
And-
your only time together.
Yes.
And people need to help you appreciate that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's that's a lot of people that don't see the day to day with us say, man, so you guys work together, live together, travel together. Man, I couldn't do that. They kind of say, I want to
That's
stay
true, they
married.
do say that.
I need some separation. And I think the fact of the matter is that if we didn't, we wouldn't see each other at all with the,
Right.
with
No.
the travel schedule.
And
so.
but you become, just like she said earlier, when you're best friends, that's a different ball game. If you're just married,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying, obviously, because you've been there. But when you become best friends, you just deal with it.
Yeah.
And everything's not perfect. And just like you said a little bit ago, you got to think on your feet, and that's how you succeed in just about anything. It's just like hunting. If you're not thinking on your feet, you're not going to be very successful. I'll guarantee you. Because things change quick. And
You mean things don't ever vary from the plan? What? No.
right. But yeah, so
So you guys, now we've just kind of switched over to hunting a little bit. I know you both hunt a lot.
Yeah.
We know that, but kind of tell the audience, what do you
When,
like to
how,
hunt?
and
What's
where
your
to start.
favorite hunt?
and how'd you get into it? And how long?
Well, you've been doing it a lot longer than I have, but you grew up with a family and your dad
I
hunted.
did. Yep. So, do you want me to go or
You go
Okay.
first.
I'm trying to read the signal here. I'm fortunate. My dad grew up. He was lived outside of Cheyenne, Wyoming. It's now Cheyenne, but it wasn't then. And that was a way of life. So they had some farm animals for milk and some other stuff. Right. And then it was, you go out and you get deer and you get elk, and that's how you eat. It was just part of the deal. So I didn't get much into waterfowl because they had a pond there, and my dad was so tired of duck by the time he was able to break free that he wasn't going to ever let me shoot one. And then I wasn't able to have a dog because he didn't want to have animals to take care of. Outside of that, he still loved hunting, and we were going since as long as I can remember. Getting little single shot falling block 22s because once it went off, you were safe. There was nothing. And we learned on that, and up we went until I was old enough to start going on my own, and I did that. And when I moved to Wyoming, my cousin was an outfitter, and so that's what kind of really skyrocketed for me, understanding the animals. In the past, it had kind of been they kind of like this terrain, and let's walk out there and see what happens. And working for him, where you do it day in, day out, and you need to adapt to the weather and everything else that's going on. The ability of your client, some that could run up to the top of Mount Everest, some that are in wheelchairs, right? Right. So you have to adjust your strategy, likewise, to match that situation. And so that helped me actually start thinking like some of the critters, and I just fell for it even harder after doing that. I got even deeper into it, and so now I just go as often as I can here. Love to take kids and
that's cool.
And other people. It's so fun to watch people light up when you get out there and they get excited.
That's what we do so much of it, and
there's
I
nothing
love
like
it.
it.
It's just to me, it's just so cool to see the reaction of their first harvest or whatever it is. It's just so cool.
Yes.
No, that's definitely obvious with you guys. For as much as you put into camps and taking people and mentoring people, we see all of that too, not just on social, but, we keep in contact via email through the year. And you guys definitely give out a lot. And then, and you can see the joy that you're getting from it. And he, was one of those people, that I see always trying to offer help,
Yeah.
Exactly.
And
you want to see people succeed. That's what I'm not trying to hide nothing. I want to see people succeed. And I'm not going to beg you to listen. I'll tell you. But I'm not going to beg you to listen. So it's up to you. You can do what you want. I don't care. I don't know everything, but I can help in any way I can. You know what I mean?
Right.
So,
right. Yeah, it's almost like paying it forward, right? I mean,
is.
someone had to teach you guys, and then
Exactly.
you can help someone else, and that's.
And I'm like Tim. I grew up in a hunting family forever. I mean, my dad was an outfitter, and it was just the way it was. It was a part of life, So, and so you got into it.
Yeah, later in life, though. I mean, I don't know if Candy, did you grow up doing it too? I might be the anomaly
our
here.
whole life, but I never thought of myself as a hunter.
Okay.
She was a
It was
cowgirl.
the same thing. You lived on a ranch. You had a big ranch, and you lived off the venison when you didn't have cows. I mean, we didn't have elk. I had never seen elk until I was probably in my late 20s. But we had, deer and antelope and shot a lot of rattlesnakes and porcupines or whatever. But I never thought of myself as a hunter.
Got it.
And then I got into hunting here probably in the last 15, 20 years in a different light. And then when I met Randy, obviously it just skyrocketed.
Right.
But I've always loved it. I just never thought of it as anything other than, it's hunting season. Yay.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I absolutely did not grow up in a hunting family. My dad, like I tell people, did go hunt. He did some deer camps and stuff, when I was really, really young. And then pretty soon you didn't see any of that. We do stuff outdoors all the time, whether it be snowboarding or, doing camping and all kinds of stuff. And so I've always loved the outdoors. But it was one of those things where it wasn't necessarily common for the girls to go with them, and I hear that more and more. People were like, oh yeah, what's where we go, and the wives of the whoever don't go and the kids don't go, but it's changing now.
It is.
And so that was kind of the scenario. I just didn't have the opportunity, and so it wasn't until I started working at Leupold that I took for my love of the outdoors and got to marry it with the opportunity of doing outside activities. And I had some great people, there's, John and Mike, from work, they were, like I said, they were out there helping me set up bows to the point that they were like, I swear, if you buy a new sight, I'm not going to help you the next time. I'm done. This is the third one or some tweak that you've had done. I'm not doing this anymore. And I was like, okay. And then, I'd be like, okay, now I want to try and learn how to, it started with archery. That was my first hunt. And then, I switched over to rifle, and it kind of just makes sense because you start learning about all the products and the gear, and you get more educated, and you're like, okay, I really want to do this. And so I had, a lot of first hunt opportunities with friends locally here in Oregon. And then through the industry, I've met some great females. I think I did I did an antelope hunt with a group of ladies and had a blast. And that was my first antelope that I have, taxidermied upstairs because it's special to me. And so that was a big game hunt that I did. And I just remember thinking, like, this is so much fun. You're in a car with a stranger, another girl that you don't know.
Right.
You're getting to banter back and forth. You're razzing the people that are helping you hunt. And then I'm like, these guys have to be just exhausted by the time we leave camp because we're just having a blast, right? And I was like, who doesn't want to do this? And I think maybe that's why I'm getting more passionate as I've been into it now, 10 years or so. Or I want to take the new people. If they show any interest at all, I'm like, great, what do you want to do? Take neighbors, to go shoot shotgun and stuff like that, even though I'm terrible at it. They don't really know. And then, other, new people that start at work or, like I said, machinists and stuff that go to camp. And then you get to meet, their other halves and stuff. And it's just exciting to share.
Yes.
The addiction of just being outside. Because it's really, for me, it's not even necessarily the hunting as much as just going out for the opportunity.
Exactly.
It's
It is.
I say it's a natural instinct. I mean, it's just like I say, people could probably get tired of me saying it, but it's true. I mean, dogs are trained and bred to do certain things, and certain people are going to have a harder instinct to do something. And I truly believe because your ancestors have done this for so long in your family or whatever, and no matter, deep down inside you probably had this and didn't even realize till you get to experience, like, whoa, that's where I've been missing,
Right.
Yeah. Well, I mean, getting a bird dog on their first chucker, and then
they're
it's like,
insane.
oh, wait a minute. I like
Exactly.
that.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
They're
That's
into
how
it.
God created them. And, I think if you take the whole hunting aspect, it's basically the circle of life. And we'll start on the ladies' camp in a minute. But one of the things we're finding, particularly with women, because there was such a long time that the women really weren't a part of the hunting. They used to be, and then it kind of got away, and it was the guys' getaway sort of a thing. And now the women are coming back into it, is because these women, they have to experience that full circle of life as well to understand and appreciate. And a lot of even the people that don't believe in guns or hunting are going into hunting because it's organic, it's healthy, it's providing for, it is that whole aspect, and it fulfills them.
Right.
So then we started there a little bit with the ladies hunting camp. Tell us, you got involved several years ago, both of you guys.
Yeah. He got voluntold he was going with me. So
I think he was a little
yeah,
scared.
voluntold.
I think he was a little nervous that first time.
Oh yeah. I think we got.
Didn't know what I was getting into for sure, but it's great.
Yeah, but what a surprise, right? I mean, we didn't know what to expect. It wasn't far away from where we lived. It was an hour and a half drive, and all we knew was bring a trailer and kind of a rough outline of what was going to happen. And then I was blown away, and you kind of got to see it from like a spectator point. And
No, it was great.
Yeah.
Little incident with the puppy, so
I
I missed one of the days. New gun dog fell off the bed in the trailer and broke its leg on the
Oh,
first day.
Yeah.
So I missed a little bit of it, but it was great to watch as an outsider. From both of us, kind of, I wouldn't say nervous, just not knowing what to expect.
No, exactly. Yeah.
As we went in, to by the end of the first day, it looked like all the people that were there for the camp had known each other for a decade.
Yes.
It was
They
amazing.
become good friends. They
Yeah.
do.
Right. And that's what, with certain people you just connect.
Yeah.
But I think they already have a connection or they wouldn't be there. So we have something in common, these gals. So when they show up, they all have something in common that they've been dying to talk to somebody about. And I think that's part of why, it works so well. Because when we started the camp, we were the same thing. I really was like, I'm not sure about this whole deal. She's like, oh, this is going to,
I
these
did it
gals
with
will love it.
horses for years, so I had a pretty good idea what I was going into.
got it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Great.
Yeah.
Because I was like, who just thinks, hey, I'd really love to organize
She
a
did.
camp and
We're looking at her again.
I
Yeah.
know. Wow. I mean,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah, she
amazing.
wanted to do
That's a
that. And so I'm
huge
like,
task.
She talked me into it. And so
You were voluntold.
I
He was voluntold.
Voluntold, and we went and voluntolded it down there, and the first year, there wasn't a lot of gals by any means because it's a new deal.
Yeah.
But then the word of mouth spread, and now it's like we're trying to figure out what to do with it.
It's gotten
but,
huge.
But anyway, it is a great event, to have the gals come in and see them get together and the network during the camp, after the camp, and to see them continue on. So many of these gals now have done so many amazing things.
Yes.
You're like, holy
Yeah.
cow, these gals went from 0 to 60 now. It's amazing, where they're.
No, their lives, a lot of them, their lives change. And part of that is, I think it's so important, and I did the same when I was doing horses. You bring in the top of the line instructors, you bring in the top of the line products. And then what's super cool is now when you guys come and represent the product, they can just go to you with any question where, you know, I can say, I think this is the best and this is why I like it. But it's really cool. So you have the people who are learning, you have incredible instructors, and then we have the product people there.
And the reps, yeah.
Wrap it all together. And I just think it's kind of a marriage made in heaven.
And it's not, and that's what's nice about, especially like you guys and Troy and those and Matt and different people that come from the different companies. They're there, of course, to represent their products, but they truly care about those people.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
They're there to help
exactly it.
those people, and
Yeah.
you probably don't want that one, but this might be more your long, and it's not like you're trying to sell them something. You're just showing them what's out there and it's the
Making their
best there
life
is,
better.
and those gals are so loyal
Yeah.
because they respect you, and I guarantee you, if they went home and said, "Oh, I'm going to buy you a Tasco," and she's going to say, "No, you're not."
Yeah. Yeah. No.
I see that a lot.
You know.
They win a pair of binoculars. The next thing you see on social media is they just went and bought their husband a pair of Leupolds, But there again, that goes back to the type of people we're bringing in, because I can see you answering their questions on social media. So you're supporting and mentoring them throughout the year, as well as everybody.
Yeah.
It's just one big circle, and it's, like you said, paying it forward, making someone's life a little better.
Oh, yeah.
You have then you become, when they go to the Cabela's or whatever to buy a Leupold scope, but in their mind they're thinking of you or Tim or whatever, because you represented that product to them. They're thinking of you guys. This is
Hi, Kingston.
We have a visitor.
what is his name?
He says, "I want a
Kingston.
headphone."
Tankston.
Kingston.
Tankston. Okay.
Yeah.
That's perfect.
Well,
Oh, he's gonna sit
all
there.
right. He's going to
That's
sit
not
here.
perfect.
This is great.
This is good.
Lay down, buddy.
But no, so when they buy a product, they're not just thinking of that. They're thinking of the people that
Exactly.
introduced them to that product and
Yep.
the kindness and everything else that everybody shows. So,
This lady helped me sight in my rifle on the rifle range,
or vice
But
versa.
I've-
Exactly.
Yeah, I've met some amazing people through it that keep up, through social media and stuff. And you'll get messages or questions, or they'll, talk about a retail experience that they have had, or they'll either talk about our brand, and recommend it to someone else. And then I'm like, thank you for doing that. It means a lot to us. We feel like friends too,
We
and
are
so
friends, yeah.
Yep.
Yep.
yeah, you genuinely care about them and you're excited to see them be successful. And then when they've got your back and stuff too, and can educate people, you're like, this is amazing. And honestly, I think ladies camp was one of the first times that I went as the product expert, because I'm so used to it being him. I was really, really nervous. I don't know if you guys knew that in the first round. I was just like,
Didn't show a bit.
I'm not the one that ever gets to go talk. He was always the one that was on videos and stuff. And I was like, I'll be the, I'm always there and always doing stuff, but I was never the one that, was going to be on the range and stuff. And so then all of a sudden I was like, well, this is awesome.
No, it is.
Feel like,
It's
yeah.
Well, and it actually works out better that way anyways. If I were to get up there and discuss some of the product stuff, it's from a different position. It's from, I've been
very in depth
working on
on
this
it.
stuff
Yes.
for 10 or 15 years. And so I'll explain something to her, and then she'll turn around and explain it to the neighbor. And I'm like, why didn't I say it that way?
No, because
You know,
you're
so
saying it
it's-
very in depth because you know all the internal organs. You know what I mean?
Right.
And she's just going to give you the basics, which is,
Well,
what
here's,
these gals
here's,
want here.
here's what it did for me when I was new and I was in your shoes. This is why I liked this. It's like, oh,
Exactly.
I need you at the retail counter.
Yeah, right,
We
right.
use your product every single day. And if you explained it your way, it'd go right over my head.
Yeah.
I'm going, okay.
Yeah.
Yep. And so it works out a lot
Right.
better because
Yeah.
it's coming from the same type of position. Here's what it meant for me.
Right,
And
right.
Right.
She's really good at doing that, and it helps to kind of just put yourself at the peer level, right? So-
Right.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's been a lot of fun. I mean, it's like outdoor school for grown-ups. So
It really is.
it becomes addicting, right? You
Yeah.
really look forward to
Those-
it every year.
Oh, yeah. And as the lady, the stories around a campfire, everybody's heard them 1,000 times. But until you hear these stories, it's just hard to believe how touching it can be. You know,
Yeah.
it's like, oh my gosh, you're in tears half the time. And
I know. I think I cried
goodness.
twice on the last camp.
Right.
So you
That
don't
one was
expect
touching.
that, right?
Yeah.
You hear them and you're just like, I can't even say anything right now. I don't
Oh,
even know
I
what to
know.
think.
I know.
And I think they're there for healing in a sense. It strengthens them, builds their confidence, and then they can start to heal whatever has gone wrong. So God has a strange way of doing that with the outdoors and wildlife and people that love the outdoors.
Yeah, did you see that coming? When he started it, I'm sure you didn't think that it was going to be so emotional, right? You're thinking this is just going to be fun and camaraderie and friendship, and
A
then
little of both, but the
Did-
same with the horses. I saw
Oh.
so much healing. Yeah, it's just like you take nature, whether there's a horse or hunting, you take good people and skills and put it together, and it builds confidence, and people can take it and go with it.
it's awesome. Oh, it's special for sure.
Yeah. So you guys got big plans this year at all yet, or you kind of like me, just waiting to see what you draw and don't draw?
A little of both. So my daughter has hunted quite a bit, and now the boys are coming up. So here in Oregon, I'm sure you're aware, there's a mentored youth program.
Oh yeah.
It's a great
so,
program.
from ages 9 and up, they can fill
Great
our
deal.
tags, right? So
Right.
I get the benefit of putting in for all this cool stuff, and then if I draw it, I get to see who wants to potentially
Aw.
go fill it, right?
Perfect.
That's so cool.
My daughter's old enough that she can get her own tags, so we're headed into spring turkey and spring
Exactly.
bear season.
Coming up soon.
Yeah, so that's probably the first thing. We always get general tags for deer and for elk. Kind of the decision becomes, is it archery or is it rifle?
Yeah.
But so we'll do all of that stuff for sure.
Right.
The kids are getting tuned up right now on shotgun and other stuff for the turkey hunt. And,
Yeah.
I'm not teaching them that way. Terrible with a shotgun, but
so that's probably
We've seen
the
your
first
pheasant.
thing.
They look
oh
good to me.
yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks,
I don't.
Thanks,
it
Benny.
Looks to me like you hit him perfect.
Yeah, right.
Hit him right in the body.
Perfect for mounting them.
Yeah, and so that's just a couple weeks when that starts. And
Yeah.
then I think we'll crawl into fall the same way. I always put in for all the dream stuff, out there, the sheep and the goat and the stuff that you won't ever draw until you're completely unprepared. And
Unless you're Adam.
Then
Yeah.
it will happen.
Yeah.
Yeah, unless you're Adam.
Thanks, Adam.
But outside of that, I don't have anything major planned. And I don't remember what you've got for the fall.
No, I'm going to be doing the same thing. I'll debate if I'm going to do archery or rifle elk this year. But then that'll entail if I'm going to go chase after that bear with Michelle Eichler too,
Oh, yeah.
that I
That's what it was.
unsuccessfully hunted last season because every time I'd show up to Colorado, we couldn't find them. But yet the rest of the time I wasn't at their ranch. There was the big one-eyed black bear that was breaking into their barn and stealing feed and stuff like that. So we have to have all the pictures of them and stuff. It just hasn't come together. So I personally would like to go and help them because they've got, some problem bears in that area,
Right.
that have been, getting, into trouble with some of the ranchers. And so going to help with that would be kind of fun.
That would be
Yeah.
fun. That'd be
Yeah.
a great hunt and great predator control.
Yeah, absolutely. So, yeah, especially when you see photos of them and they text you throughout the year when it's not
Make
season.
you
You're just
all-
like, thank
yeah.
you. This is great. Yeah.
Yeah,
They're not
yeah.
there when I'm there, but that's
I
wonderful.
know that happens, but it
Yeah.
will come together. So.
Yeah, maybe. So that's
will,
what I'm really
eventually.
hoping for.
Eventually. Cool.
She had a way of making it rain. And the
gosh.
ranchers would love her to come.
Come
visit.
right because it brings rain. Yeah.
Yeah, everywhere. Everywhere she went, it was flooding.
I used to
essentially.
be pretty good at that too. Yeah.
Oh, I don't get it. Like,
Bring the rain. Yeah. We go to trailheads. The weather says it's not going to, it's perfectly clear. Everything's good. You throw your bedroll out on the ground, get ready to pack in with the horses the next morning, and middle of the night, it starts pouring down rain. Like, every time. How does this work?
I don't know, but it's following
then you
us.
start
Is it the black rain
scurrying.
cloud? Yeah, no, I remember texting them and saying, yep, I'm at the airport driving down. And it was sunny. It was hot a week before. All the bears were in all, the watering holes and stuff. And got all these pictures and I'm driving and they're like, okay, you're coming in. I'm like, yeah, like a tropical storm, being sarcastic, being from Belize. I was like, yeah, I'm coming in with all my energy. It was downpouring.
Oh, my gosh.
Downpouring. I was miserable. And you're just outside all day, just taking it with the rain and the wind. And I'm
That
like,
gets old.
where am I in Oregon right now? I thought this was Colorado.
Tropical storm Riza.
Yeah, well, now I think it's stuck because that was an unfortunate phrase for me. Yeah.
We went back and it happened again.
Yes. I don't get it. Oh man. So yeah, we'll see. I want a bear this year.
She
There you
wants
go.
revenge there.
I
There you
do.
go.
Yeah.
You draw a
Little
spring
bit.
bear tag or
Yeah, we'll be going here in Oregon and taking some friends and stuff and
the
their
Southwest.
children.
I got
Yeah.
the over the counter tag.
That's very cool.
But
I
you
love
got to
it.
get it, or you already got it.
We got it.
Yeah,
we got
because
them.
they go away pretty quick.
Oh yeah, no,
Like
we were on that
mid-February.
one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you got to get it.
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
missed last year, right?
2 years ago.
Okay.
I actually just set up a calendar reminder. We're drawing some of that stuff out in the blues, and it is not only tougher for us because then we have to load everybody up and
further
go
out,
all
right?
at once.
Well, you got great. There's
It's-
jillion bears in this country if you can just see them.
Yeah,
that's the
Yeah.
key.
So being
I
right
don't see them.
here lets us take the kids. And
Right,
So
right.
And
we
that's
just
so
put in
much
for that
better.
every
it's
a
year.
yeah.
And I just set up a reminder in my calendar on the first
Mm-hmm.
day of January. Buy your bear tags before they're gone. Basically,
Right.
Just go on there. And buy the sports pack, and get it all knocked out and ready to go.
I can't wait to see
cool.
the pictures with the kids.
It
I
is
love
cool.
that.
Yeah, because this last couple of years we've had for the deer hunting just a truckload of all the grandkids and friends'
So
kids
fun.
that all turned 9 years old. So it was a
all with Weatherby rifles and
Yes,
Leupold scopes.
yeah,
We've
they
seen
were
the pictures.
exactly.
How cute is this family?
Yeah,
Yes.
the little blonde-headed granddaughter took her back in the wilderness this year. She shot that buck. It was like the coolest thing ever. It was great.
I
It,
know.
it is fun. That's way more fun than doing it yourself.
Yes.
Oh,
So
man.
much more fun.
Yeah.
But it was sad as her older brother Deacon. We pack him and he goes every day with us. Just works his living tail
hiked
off.
him.
It's awesome.
And finally one day, the Soul Forkhorn shows up. He goes, "I am shooting that one,"
And he did.
and he did. And then Sis goes
How
out the next day and
pumped
shoots a
was
big
he?
4-point. Like,
Oops.
well,
Maybe I should have waited.
Oh.
it is funny. But
Yeah.
That's the
That's
right
state fun.
attitude, though.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. How fun! I want to tag along.
Yeah.
Well, we're bringing the neighborhood. So we have a mixture of hunters that have never hunted bear, shooters that have never hunted, and then kids that haven't maybe done much of either that want to go see what this is all about.
right.
And so we're gonna go down and stay. There's fortunately an RV park. Basically, it's
Close.
just a flat place to put them rather than out in
Great.
the hills where we can all be close together.
Yeah, have a good
do
time.
do the
Wow.
campfire.
camp-
at night
yeah, the
and
camaraderie
Yeah.
is a way big part of it.
And so, and it's within 15 minutes of where we'll be hunting, so you can come back at lunch and,
All right, you
all
bet.
that stuff. So it
That's
should be
great.
fun. This is going to
Make
be,
it fun.
Yes.
rather than what it can be off in this western stuff where you sit there and it's pouring and it's miserable and you're
No,
waiting for
it-
one blacktail to step out somewhere. This should be a lot more of a
No, if you don't make it,
introduce 'em in a
if you don't
fun
make
way.
it fun for them, you can ruin it for them too. And
Yeah, they may
just that
never go
quick,
back.
Yeah.
And you gotta think about that with new folks and children and ladies or whatever. It's like, what do they want to do? When I was guiding, I learned that right away when I was real young. And man, I'm just like, wow, man, we're
He
going.
still is.
And this old guy, I'll never forget it. He said, "Randy, can I talk to you outside the tent?" Okay, so we go outside the tent, and he's probably mid-60s. I thought he was 100 back then. And so he says, "I just want you to know something. I see you're full of energy and this and that." He says, "I get 1 week off a year to come out and enjoy the mountains." And he goes, "I do it every year." And he says, "I may hunt one day. I may hunt every day." He goes, "I may not hunt at all. I might stay here and read. I might go for a hike." He goes, "But this is my 1 week a year." So he says, "I don't want you to be offended if I don't even leave this tent." I'm like, never thought of it that way. You know what I mean? I really hadn't. And so that's what, and then after that, I always ask my clients, what do you want? Do you want to go from daylight to dark? Do you want to just go out in the mornings? Do what you want, and let them do what they want. They're the ones paying for it. It's their time. It's their 1 week a year.
Right. Oh, I think that's one of the nice things that you always make a point. We've never forced our kids into any of it. We let them express interest and then come after us and ask for the knowledge
Yes.
and the time, to practice. Because one of his rules is like, if you're not practicing and if you're not showing an interest, he's like, we're not taking you.
Yes.
And that's important too, because it's time and effort, right?
It is.
You got to put in the time, whether it be sitting with someone else and glassing for them or anything. You want to see them make that effort and then show the responsibility, right? It's not a guarantee.
Well,
right?
and it's one of those things that, at least here, you can watch it. So my daughter has had the bug since she was little. She rode around stood on the shelf
just her thing.
on my pack frame when I went coyote hunting or bobcat hunting or whatever. you know,
Right.
and so she's been doing this since she was 3. It just she had that.
Right.
And you could watch when we'd come back. She shot her first elk and her first buck deer, and she'd shot does in the past, but now you're moving up.
Yeah,
into
yeah,
the more
stepped up
premium
one.
stuff, and the boys at her school are noticing this.
Oh, yeah.
And they're,
She's the hunter.
well, so then there's, wait, you've done what? And then there's kind of this kind of group of people admiring what she had, and then there's instantly, well, I want to do that too.
Yeah, I wanna
okay,
try
you're up next year. Let's practice all year. Make sure that you're good enough to shoot. And then if you see it taper off a little bit, it's like, that's not going to be fair to the animal if you don't know how to run that rifle or that bow. And so we just we want to make sure that they're one committed, not just in that moment of excitement where I want to be the hero. I want everybody to kind of fawn over me and make sure that they're really interested. It's something that you can't take back. If you go do this and it's not for you, you should at least have thought about it ahead of time. Was kind of our attitude.
Yeah.
Well, and by not making them follow through and do it right, say they did have some interest and they made a bad shot and lost an animal, they probably would never hunt again. So now it took something that could be incredible and turned it into a bad experience.
Right.
So, I mean, it's only,
And
it's perfect.
it can go south in a hurry. Don't matter who you are. So,
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, it can.
And they need to be ready for that, right?
Yeah.
There's
Exactly.
no guarantees in life, so.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's why they call it hunting.
Yeah. And that's why it's nice to do what you can to push those skills onto other people when they're asking for the information.
Yes.
So, get
Yes.
it translated. So, yes.
Yeah, it's fun. I mean, so it's my world and your guys' world too, obviously. But that's what we're trying to portray to other folks, that they can see it in a good light. I mean, because it's like anything, there's always somebody that can give anything a bad name. So
Yes.
Yeah.
you do the best you can to try to. You can call it a sport, and call it whatever. I call it existence, but
Yeah,
it's
lifestyle.
That's just my life. So
Yeah.
So-
It's a welcoming community, and that was, I think, one of the things that I saw from her coming into it as an adult. She was surprised, I think. There's a lot of obstacles, barriers to entry.
There is.
But once you poke your head in and just say, I'm interested, you get flooded with support.
Yes.
yeah,
And I think
Yeah.
that caught her off guard was,
Totally.
wait, are these people being genuine? People were lined up. Let me know, what you guys, gals, everybody, no vested interest, but if you want anything, let us know.
right,
And
right.
so you really are kind of welcomed into a family when you go
Exactly.
do this.
It is.
right.
So if anybody listening is nervous about trying it or reaching out, don't be, right?
Oh,
Because
heck no.
Oh, no.
I've never
No.
met a more
Just-
welcoming group of folks.
Yeah, just ask. I mean, but that's where I think the ladies have an advantage over us guys, because we don't like to ask.
No. It's a
You
sign
know,
of weakness.
we don't. Yeah,
can't-
we don't.
we should already know that.
Absolutely not. I ain't gonna ask it. You ask it.
Cannot believe
Oh,
you're
he
admitting
does.
this out loud
He
right
sends me
now.
to
No,
ask.
that's why the guy we just spent a week with, Troy, I'd have him ask it. He'd ask anybody anything.
That's really funny.
But no, yeah, but the ladies, they aren't afraid to ask,
Nope.
and they just communicate, and it's great, So
Yeah.
Even when you see that there's nerves on some of them, I've had friends that have gone and they've come to me before class starts and they're like, I'm really nervous. And you're like, you don't need to be, just go. You don't even have to do anything. Just show
don't
up
have
to
to.
whatever class is first on the agenda and go. And then like Tim says, by the end of it, it's just amazing what transition has happened, right? And I mean, some of the stories that I have for you guys, which we could definitely talk in long depth of, but 2 ladies from camp last year, their husbands were outdoorsmen and, for the love of dogs and stuff, and they'd tag along for all of it. And I kind of just nudged them into going to camp, and they went. And then over this last year, both of them have been out hunting,
That's awesome.
whether it starts with birds or whatever it is.
Yeah,
but
it
now
don't
it's
matter,
like,
yeah.
you can't leave me behind. I totally know what I'm doing. And then they find out, see them at the end of the day, because I'd be helping out at the rifle range. They come back and they're like, I'm amazing with shotgun. Or I am so good. I'm buying a bow. One of them bought a bow. Another one
yeah.
inherited their grandpa's rifle. Another one's like, I have to get a new shotgun. I'm really good at, shooting clays and stuff. And I was like, this is awesome.
That's
and
so
then they're
cool.
like, thanks for sharing your lifestyle with us. And I was like, this is not me. You know what I mean? Like,
But it is.
But this is, you just went.
everybody.
You took the first step to go.
Yes.
Right, that's just it. That
Exactly.
first step, and that's what that camp. It's so basic, You're going, oh, I'm going to go learn everything. No, you're not. You're going to come and get a taste of everything. Now you've got to, just like you say, practice. You've
Yep.
got to
Practice and
have the
practice.
drive to continue on, and then succeed. It's,
But it's really affordable. I mean,
Yes.
too. That is really nice that you guys have kept it within range, to make it affordable for people to go. You're not asking them to travel long distances if you're here in the Northwest, it's accessible, and it's decent amount of money to be able to go away for a weekend. You'd spend that at a campground, just
Exactly.
going to camp at the beach or something, and so now you're going camping, having fun with your friends, your family, your husbands, boyfriends, kids can all go. Don't go to class with you. You know what I mean? So you're not missing out on family time, and it didn't hurt your family's, income to attend, and you've got all those skills.
That's
So
super important for us, is to try to keep that
That's our
down
goal,
as
but
much as we can.
exactly.
So
Well, and from the outsider, if you want to call it that perspective, if we're not helping with, if there's something we can help on stations as the husbands or the children
Exactly.
or whatever, if we're not doing that, you've still got a group of like-minded folks and you're out in
Go
the
do your own
woods
thing.
together, and so
Yeah.
like last year we all brought our bird dogs and went and trained on a pond, you know, and it was
perfect.
It just
Yeah.
it is what it is. You get the same but different experience, and so you're still bringing a number of folks together. So a bunch of the guys, we didn't know each other.
Yeah.
And they can go hang out and go rabbit hunting or rat hunting or whatever. And just
I
go
think
have a
you
good
ended
time.
up taking quite a few people with you, or several.
We did, yeah. We went out and just kind of had fun, and you know,
Exactly.
oh wait, the girls are going to be back at 5 or whatever,
Right.
so we scheduled around that.
They have as much fun as we do,
didn't
right?
we didn't get voluntold anything until 5 o'clock.
Voluntold.
Great.
The newest word in town.
The only reason we get them back is the amazing food at the end of the day. They're starving, right?
Right.
Guys aren't going to pack sandwiches and stuff for themselves. At least he won't. You know what I mean?
Right.
He's like, oh, I'll be fine. So by the end of the day, when the big barbecue hits and stuff, they will all come back.
Oh,
so,
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah.
That barbecue brings them in.
Absolutely. Yeah, you guys feed everybody really well.
Well, we probably ought to let these people get back to their. We did this on a Sunday, trying to catch up with them.
I
We was coming
know.
through town, and
They opened up
Interrupted.
their home to us, and we
so we
appreciate it.
interrupted them. But
No, this is awesome.
Always,
having you guys.
always open, always welcome. We appreciate
Yeah.
everything that you guys are
you
doing.
guys are the same way. We, you know where we live, and you're always welcome. Be
Don't
going
say
through
that. We'll
town.
show up.
We'll
That's
do
the
it.
problem.
We got extra rooms, man, and you anytime. But yeah.
Perfect.
But anyway, thanks, Tim,
Thank you.
Riza.
Appreciate it.
I'm
Thank
going
you
to
very
hug
much.
you.
Okay,
So,
that's
I
right.
mean,
Hugger.
I'm a hugger.
Oh, we're making noise.
We'll bump mics.
We're clocking. We're wrecking.
I'll
horses.
hug you in a minute. Yeah. I want to
Okay.
take this off and then be free.
Thanks a
She was
lot.
talking about her microphone.
Oh yeah,
Great.
man.
Thank goodness for clarifying
Yeah.
that. Well, thank you guys for coming to our house and
Thank
stuff
you.
and visiting. It was a lot of
Okay.
fun.
Okay, bye. Hope you enjoyed this week's podcast, and remember, it's not always perfect, but it is always real with Extreme Desire. Please always remember we cannot continue without social media these days. Once again, we ask that you like us, Randy and Candy Yao's Extreme Desire, on Facebook, follow us on Instagram, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. And please check out our website, extremedesiretv.com. See you next week, same place, same time.